I have published over 500 blog posts and 100 YouTube videos, but still y'all have questions. So this video will be wide-ranging, from business advice to mindset to how I manage certain projects in my business, like creating content, things like you had questions about figuring out your audience, finding masterminds, all of the things. We are going to go there in today's video. And we're going to do this in a bit of an unusual way. I'm going to answer your questions while bringing you along with me for the weekend. We are just about to head out of London and we're headed off to the Cotswolds. We're going to have a nice little countryside hike weekend. So let's get packing and I will answer your questions too. Okay, the laptop is staying at home, but this book is coming with. I'm reading it right now and it's incredible. I'm most of the way through and would highly recommend it. It's given me a ton of ideas. Okay, so question number one was, what is the best way for creating connections with other online business owners? I've seen that you have partners that you team up with and I shared their information and they shared mine. I would love to know how to do this. So the good news, I think, is that the entire time I've run my business, I have lived abroad. And so I find a lot of the business owner events, they tend to be in the US, and I don't tend to be in the US that often, actually. I think I haven't been a single time since the pandemic, actually, so it's been years. But pretty much all the business friendships I've made have happened online. Sometimes I've met the people in person, but most often it didn't start that way. When I met Louise Henry, for example, we're actually both from the same hometown, but we were both living abroad at the time. She just sent me an email. She asked for an online coffee date. That's how I met her. And then we did meet up in person multiple times. Then the Bucket List Bombshells, the way that I met them was I literally saw one of their Facebook ads, sent them an email and just said I love what you're doing in your business. And this is so fantastic, and just praised what they were doing basically. And I think Cassie got back to me, and then eventually they were like, oh, perfect. Actually, we'd love for some people to come talk in our Facebook group about working and running a business online abroad. So that's how that one happened. Those are just two very small examples of many business friends now. And yeah, I do also find that being at a mastermind is also exceptionally helpful. Masterminds that have in-person aspects, I should clarify. So yeah, I have met some people at conferences and stuff, but again, I don't know, most of the people who I've met, it has been online. And so I would encourage you just know that all of these people, they are also running their business. They potentially also want some business friends or need some business friends. They don't have anyone else to bounce ideas off of or help them make decisions or anything. And so they're probably also very down to make friends. So honestly, the way I think it's done is just be a normal, friendly human, offer to help other business owners. Oh, another thing is if you have a podcast, it's a great way to ask people to chat for a purpose. So yeah, all of those things, it can pretty much be done online. It doesn't need to be in-person events. So I hope that gives you hope. This is Roman Abramovich's house, which is probably empty right now. Okay, 2-hour drive later, we made it. This hotel room is gorgeous. Let me show it to you 1 second. I'm especially loving, look at the old school telephone. How fantastic is that? And also over here by the door, I think it's a door stop. So cute. Okay, but enough room tours. I've only answered one question. This one I love. What's next? You've gone from services to education. What do you plan to do next? I plan to YouTube. YouTube is my thing this year. I'm so stoked about YouTube. The other thing, which is a thought in my mind as well though, is at some point, I've heard a lot of female entrepreneurs say this, is when you have kids, launching with the same frequency when you don't have kids can be a challenge. And so I've definitely been thinking about recurring revenue streams. I'm not in love with the traditional membership option. I feel that's the thing that everyone does, to the point where I'm do I really want to do that? So I am at the moment, literally right now, thinking up creative recurring revenue streams that I could add to this business, so that if I wanted to take many months off at a time, that would be a possibility without having any significant revenue concern. So those are the two things that I'm thinking about right now. What exactly that idea is, I'll be sharing in future videos. It's developing at the moment, so I don't want to share anything yet, but I have a couple of kind of unique ideas, which I'm excited about. The next question was, do you plan your work week in advance, and how is your average working day? So, kind of. This year specifically, I feel like I got into the best flow of work that I have literally been in ever in the business, and I'm very thrilled about it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I focus on creating content, and then Thursday, I do anything related to like course updates, doing Q&A calls with students, preparing things for our next launch, those sorts of things. And then on Fridays, I'm doing like admin type stuff in the business. And those are basically like how I batch my week. And do I plan the days in advance? Yeah, I guess I kind of always know, like, it's a whatever day of the week it is, this is the thing I'm working on. And so if I say don't finish something related to, just the other day I wanted to update a landing page for our upcoming launch, I didn't finish it on the Thursday, so I just put it on to the next Thursday. So I already know in advance, like, okay, I'm gonna be working on that next Thursday. So it is kind of planned in advance, or like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I know like I'm just creating whatever the next piece of content is in the business. So it's, yeah, kind of planned in advance. Someone asked, what are the best forms of passive income that can be created in less than a year? Good one. I had a think about this. I read this in advance and I thought about it on the drive, actually. I like that they said within a year, because I feel like that is, some people are like, within 2 weeks. And I'm like, well, that's not realistic. I feel like within a year, you could launch most passive income products within a year. When I think about me getting into courses, I spent a year building an email list, and then I launched a course 3 months into the next year. So by March the next year, I started the email list January, did that for a year, probably honestly could have launched earlier. But anyways, the next January till March, I spent creating a course and then launched that. And then within a year of that, or within 9 months of that, was fully into like passive revenue streams and courses. So I feel like you could launch within a year is like a realistic time frame to like build an audience and launch a something. Maybe not a software. A software might take longer than a year. But like your typical online businessy things, templates, I don't know, getting affiliate income, courses, digital products, all those I think could definitely be created the product and potentially the audience to a reasonable enough size to make money off of it within a year for sure. The next question was, how do I find a good mastermind? I tried Google and I was unsuccessful. I feel like I totally understand this question because it is a real challenge. There's not that many out there. And the ones that are out there tend to be for like the very much so larger entrepreneurs. There are a few things for if you're like around the 6-figure mark or so. I feel like that's when kind of masterminds start typically. You could always form your own mastermind literally by just reaching out to like 2 or 3 other people. I actually did that. I took a course once and I kind of formed like a little mastermind with other people who were doing that same course. So I literally just searched through the Facebook group and found people who looked interesting, who I would be like, I'd also be down to be friends with you. Which brings me back to the first point, actually. One of those people was Katie from Drop Cap Design, who I reached out to for that little like course mastermind inside this course or whatever. We're kind of like each other's accountability buddies. So that's another way, is I literally just reach out being like, hey, we're both doing this course. Do you wanna, like, we had like similar style businesses and everything. I asked if her and like another girl wanted to do like a weekly call. So kind of formed my own in that case. But in terms of finding actual masterminds, I would say your best bet is look to the entrepreneurs who are a bit further along than you in business and get on all their email lists, because that is the place they're going to announce it 100%. And oftentimes these things, they will fill up without even being made like super public on like social or any sort of big like launch or anything. Yeah, basically look to the entrepreneurs who are bigger than you, find their email list, get on their email list. Another thing you could do is you could actually ask the entrepreneurs who you would want to be in their mastermind, if they have a mastermind or are considering creating one. Because that's another thing, was I actually did that for me one time. That was a thing where it's like, people had asked for something and I was like, oh, I didn't realize people wanted that. And like, I would love to offer that. It was something different. But I was like, oh, I didn't know anyone in my audience actually wanted that. So could also be worth you kind of like mentioning it to the person that you might want to take it with. Okay, I'll do one more, then I should get ready for dinner. What is your step-by-step method for writing a blog or making content and then sharing that with the world? So the first thing that I do is I think up the content idea. This sometimes involves research. This sometimes involves just me walking down the street and thinking up things. This sometimes involves me seeing other people's videos and being inspired and be like, oh, I want to create my own like version of that, or like this, I have a different thing that I would want to say on that topic or whatever. So that's kind of like thinking up the ideas, and we just have a ginormous list of ideas that we have in our Asana now, which is amazing. So we can just like pull from those. So every like month-ish or so, I look at the list of ideas and I pull from said list of ideas. And I also take into account, I have a list as well, which I created over time. It's just like things, I did some like hardcore YouTube research one time. It's just like, these are the things which people's most successful videos all have in common. Like these are the topics or the words or keywords or whatever that they all tend to have. tours is one. How I X something. Something about doing stuff faster. There's like 10 other ones which I realized, but there was just like a very consistent theme of the types of videos that tend to do well on people's channels. So I will look at also what we're launching coming up and then figure out like, hey, what topics lead into that launch. So I'm looking at the list of ideas, I'm thinking about what we're launching, I'm thinking about what are, I think I have a list of like 10 or 15 things, which is like all the most successful videos have this topic. So I look at that, and so I like won't choose a item unless it hits on one of those things. Buying guides, that was another one which I noticed was really common, was people always want to know like what to buy related to like X topic. Then I write a script, which becomes the blog post. So I literally write and script the entire thing, other than a video like this. But I do, like, I organize the intro, outro, and questions for something like this. And then I film the video, tend to always batch that. If I can do multiple in a day, that's good, because it just takes time to get pretty, set up your filming equipment, lights, camera, making sure everything's charged. Think of a thumbnail idea, potentially take a photo for a thumbnail, and then pass it off to our video editor. She edits the video, she puts together the blog post, which again is kind of written from the script, pops it into our emails, sends it to our email list a week after it's gone live on the YouTube channel. We don't actually do anything about like repurposing on social media or anything, because I'm just not on social media. So yeah, it is now at 7:40, dinner is at 8. So let me get ready and I will take you with me. I have a thing for English wallpaper. It's so nice.
That time.
Morning. Okay, so it is the next day. We're gonna go on a hike. It is currently raining, which is fantastic. I was talking to a friend like last month, and they were asking about like, oh, how's England? Like, is it rainy all the time? And I was like, no, it's been the most amazing winter. It's like hardly rained. And then right after that, it proceeded to rain, I swear, like almost every single day in the month of March. So it's been a time. Excited. I hope it stops. It says it will stop later today, which I'm really hopeful for, because a hike in the rain is not the most enjoyable thing. But anyways, I'm going to do the typical blogger influencer thing. Do my makeup while I do this, because we have 10 minutes until checkout and I still need to do my makeup and answer some more of your questions. So the next question was, if you were, for whatever reason, to go back to one-to-one services, what would you do differently? I think I would do them way faster. I would definitely implement things like maybe a 1-week website design or a 1-day service. The other thing which I realized, I actually had a student ask me this on a Q&A call. They're like, instead of doing a mood board where you basically just like, I used to do a mood board and then for the website and then show it to the client and then be like, are you happy with all the styles and everything? And if yes, then I'll like continue with the whole website. And she's like, could I just do the homepage and then show that, kind of like to give them the idea of the style and everything? And I was like, yeah, you could totally do that. Like, why did I not think of that before? That's so much more of an effective way of doing things. So yeah, I think I would shorten timelines. I would maybe niche even further into a industry, because I think then you can raise prices further and just think of every, like, stop. I think that's the thing, is like, you just do something one way for so long that you don't think about like, is there a better method or whatever? And then when the student had asked that question, I was like, that is so intelligent. Like, why have I not thought about that? Like, yes, that absolutely, like, the purpose, you're still achieving the same end goal, which is seeing if they like the style without all the other stuff. So I think that's totally genius. Okay, so the next question was, where do you want to travel to next? And the answer is nowhere. All of our friends' weddings, which didn't happen, happened last year. And so we moved to London and then proceeded to, like, from, I swear it was like May to September, we were on trips somewhere, like either business trips or weddings. And so we weren't actually home very often, and we just got really sick of constantly being gone. So right now I don't have any, I would like maybe like a week at the Mediterranean would be nice, but otherwise, like, I'm good for the foreseeable future for going places. So no immediate travel plans, and mostly just wanting to, weekend trips like this, like, that's nice. I think it's nice to get out of the city on the weekend and like go for a hike, but I mean, it's just like a one night stay. It's not a big deal. So yeah, no big travel destinations. It's kind of boring, but yeah. I'm loving the interiors on this hotel. Check out this. Pretty. Okay, slight update. It is still wet and gray outside. So we decided to come to a National Trust property. It is some old manor house. We bought a membership for the National Trust last year and haven't gone to a single place. We've gone to one, so we're gonna attempt that. Put on our rain boots, our wellies, because it is quite wet. Let's go. Okay, the next question was all about fears, limiting beliefs, how do you get over them, how do you just start and launch. There was like 3 different people who asked basically the same question. And I would say, 1, I found some books very helpful. You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero was incredible. I'll link some other ones which I think are good as well down below. Can't think of them off the top of my head, but I have a whole list of helpful books if that is the issue. And specifically in terms of how I did that, I feel like I always say this, I'm very grateful that I didn't really have the choice because I'd moved abroad and I had to make money. And so I think that that was a real gift in that if I was in a more comfortable situation, had a 9-to-5 job, I made good money, like, it would have been harder to do the uncomfortable, which starting a business is uncomfortable. So I have to say, like, I feel like I a little bit cheated / was given a gift there, but happy that it happened the way it did. And yeah, but definitely read the books. I think those are really helpful. Okay, and then the next question was, how do I stay focused on the bigger picture / goal and not get overwhelmed? I'm in the startup phase of my business. So I think the thing which I do when it comes to not getting overwhelmed and figuring out what I should be working on and what I should be spending my time on is I really evaluate, well, I think in business there's like 3 main things that you need. You need something to sell people, a product or a service. You need a marketing strategy, and you need an ideal client. And if you figure out those 3 things, like, those are the 3 things. So if you don't have those 3 things figured out yet, I would 1, 2, 3, like, work through those 3 major points, I guess you would say. And then after that, in terms of like, okay, what do I do next? Let's say there's like 50 different things in front of you that you need to do when you start a business. So you need to create an opt-in gift, and you need to get our CRM, and you need to take a course, and you need to start a Stripe account, and all these different things. I would really just like make yourself a to-do list, be like, hey, what logically makes sense in what order? And then when it comes to different projects, say if you're like, oh, I'm thinking about creating these like 5 different offerings or whatever, I would start evaluating them by things like, how excited am I by this thing? What's the earning potential on this thing? Could this make passive income in the future? Think about your criteria of like what defines to you a good or bad income stream, and then kind of like rate each one accordingly. And just know that like you just do one thing and then the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and it's not all gonna happen at once, and that's fine. If you also have a burning question, then definitely feel free to comment it below, because I will use it for the next time that I do a Q&A video. I hope you enjoyed coming on a little weekend trip with me. And as you may have noticed in this video, we have now moved to the UK. We are no longer in Germany. If you want the full details on exactly why it is that we made that decision, definitely watch this video next, and I will lay out the whole long story of how this happened.